When you press the video, it on there.
The night of Eve. Of
That is actually.
But you ain't complaining, so it's not like
It was okay.
It was good.
Yeah,
It was
it
good.
record nothing.
Okay. What was you
Right?
at?
They had one.
No,
Yeah.
okay.
So they had one.
But what was
Yeah.
you at?
I went last year, not this year.
Okay.
Yeah,
Come
but
on,
last
okay.
year it was super crowded.
Okay, yeah, I know it's like
This one wasn't
200-300
crowded,
persons
yeah.
that one
No,
wasn't
this one
crowded.
wasn't crowded.
Okay, okay, but good that you met some people. Did you give out your card? Did you get some numbers?
No.
If you don't have a card, what? She go on there and stay in her little corner and she don't talk to nobody.
I we don't really do cards nowadays. We kind of just do the whole, here's my Facebook page.
Link.
Oh,
something like that.
okay,
And then
okay.
if you have a business page, then it's just easy to say, you know.
This, yeah,
And
but
then we have a little segment in my Toastmasters Club where we do a shameless plug, where you get a couple seconds to go up and say what you do aside from work.
okay, okay, good. So on this card, if you do make a business card, you just put entrepreneur or CEO of your own business.
myself.
Of yourself, right,
Yes.
right. Again, it's just to network. And like he said, you know, that's the older way to do it. The young people
And then you don't really
exchanging.
realize how much potential you have until you actually are in a position to, when you're doing your business card, you're like, okay, what do I do? Oh, I do graphics. I can design a flyer for someone. I can write a letter. I can edit a resume, and
Right.
then you can just come up with simple little titles for yourself
So-
from that.
Because like I say, you need like at least 5 revenue streams.
Yeah.
Not that you need 5 jobs, but 5, yeah, different areas. Because everything's seasonal and just to stay afloat. If you have a 9 to 5, that's only to pay bills. Yeah. I've never had a 9 to 5 before I was able to go on vacation with or what have you. If you want to go on vacation, if you want a nice car, if you want your children to go to private school and all these different things, you need a part-time job. You need a second income. Yeah. So think about it. And then you have 3? Okay, very good. Very good. And as you grow and you get comfortable in each one, then you try and find another way. Okay, and there's lots of opportunities out there. You said something earlier, but and I wanted to go back and tell you, when you read the newspaper and you see the government is about to invest $10 million into the Small Business Development Center, that's what they said. You look at that $10 million and you said, okay, some of this $10 million is for me. How do I get it? And then you go and do your research and you find out how to get it. So that's, you said something about
Yes.
all
All
this money coming in from the
EU.
And so when that started coming out in the papers, that for me, some of this should be for me, and then you venture out and you start to find out how. Now, if it's anything to do with tourism, definitely, you see all those people, I think they're having a fair or something downtown, they put up all these little tents. It's easy to just fill out to the roads and parks, pay $50 and you get a tent. Billions and trillions of dollars are being made through tourism. Okay, we developing the port. We borrowing 192 billion, is it billion? From the Chinese. 100, some of that for you.
Yeah.
Find out how to get it. So every time you see these big numbers in the papers, find out, start to do your research. And this is why we practicing, going online, we finding out how to write these papers. The same thing you do for your business.
So is the small business, is the small, I think it's called the access accelerated something,
So
something like that.
yeah.
But is that more like a grant, or is that like just a startup, like a?
It depends. So this is what I was told. You come to a program for 6 weeks, and at the end of 6 weeks, you have like say a graduation, and then by then they will know what you want. You should have your business plan and what have you. Now one person went and she has a driving school, and she wanted just to be able. She had 3 cars already, but she didn't have employees, and she didn't feel like she could afford employees, and so they gave her $7,000. And that was able to get her 2 employees and pay their salaries for I think 3 months or something like that. And then by then the money that would have come in from the extra whatever, she would have been able to turn that over. Right. Another lady, she said she's an event planner, and it seems like every event was a funeral after a wake or a repast. And she said, you know, standing in the graveyard and looking around, and she noticed that people always had a problem finding private graves. You know, they are public graves, but no private graves. So she decided that she wanted to open up a graveyard in Freeport. And so they went and guaranteed the loan at Royal Bank, and Royal Bank gave her $160,000, and she has bought the property and having it plotted out for a graveyard in Freeport. So it really depends on what you want. So it's up to $10 million that the government will guarantee, not for one person, but for a group of persons. So by all means, go try it out, go see what it's about, and you know what I mean? Yeah, your children can inherit your job.
That's what Paul P did.
The ice cream place say. And she went through that business accelerator. Yeah. But yes, yeah. And so it's available, that's what I say. This is why you're reading the papers every day. When you Bahamas Striping did it as well. So when you see this $10 million or any amount of money, some of it is for you. Find out how to get it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? Okay. Very good. So we on the right track. We know we reading. We know we attending our seminars.
With the coronavirus.
Oh,
that's another story.
Lord, they say it affect the entire world. Now, if you know anything about China, in a couple of years back, they had the SARS virus. Or SARS, whatever. To me, it's population control. I could be wrong. No children have it, and no black people have it. So but Chinese don't really mix. Probably with white, but I don't think with black. It's very minimal. You see that, so that's I can understand why no black people have it, but no children. That's they do that too.
Oh yes, we had a doctor come into my job last week, and he was talking about it and talking about how the people that are contracting the virus are older or persons that are already sick. So he said that and the people that are not surviving are the ones with these immune deficiencies and I said that.
Yeah, but the government, I mean, some association has approached the government and asked if they could just kill 20,000 persons.
Yeah, that was a couple weeks back.
I suspect they may be killing them.
That's what I said.
But I mean, because you know they built the hospital in 2 days, and the hospital was to capacity by the 3rd day. And so they went to the government asking the government to kill 20,000 people because they had nowhere to even treat them. But the Prime Minister said no, or whoever said no. Yeah.
Well, he said no.
He said no. 20,000 just dead.
He said no.
Because the way they offer them, I mean, based on the
videos, what you see, how they treat them like animals.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they imagine the dead and everything.
China is the number, everything made in China, all sorts of trade, you could imagine all these things.
The boats, all the boats stop. They don't want to touch their inventory, like it affected their trade, but also when the stuff coming now, they don't even want to touch it.
Right, but all of that is stopped, no planes, no boats, no, so it definitely is going to have an effect.
From China, is what you're saying?
Well,
not right
China,
now. I think they stopped. I think they stopped temporarily.
Okay.
But the stock market has crashed since that has happened. So of course, these people will do anything for money. So the market got to go back up. So I don't know. So now you see how it has affected the world. Yeah, it's interrelated. Just like I said, sometimes it's the hurricane. It not necessarily something that happened by the government or some corruption or whatever. Remember when I talked about the corruption perception index of Puerto Rico just dropped out from 65 to not even a rating because of the hurricane. So this is why you need to be aware of these things, all these things that trigger the economy.
And then I saw, I'm not sure which one sued which, but I think the head nose thing, they and they had a whole article where one of them quoted that the other lady went from basically living poor, basically being poor to now being rich and living lavish in the States. I'm not sure which one was talking about the other one.
That's not true.
So when they
said
that's what they quoted her as saying in the paper.
She did say,
that's not true.
I saw it on live.
Yeah, that's not true.
Well, I don't know what is true or like
Leah, as always, she has always had money. and apartments and everything.
In the States, right?
No, right here in
Right
Nassau.
now, she just lives in the States.
Because I was under the
she's a
impression
citizen.
that, like, when Head Nose first started, I thought one of them always lived in the States and she just used to travel back and
No,
forth.
she lived in Nassau. She's never worked. She's always only done like charity work and
then
stuff like
had
that.
a apartment.
Yeah, she had apartments on rent and other little things that she do, like white people stuff, you know, where they find a way to make money from charity and stuff like that. She's never, I have never known her to say work like that. But to me, she was always a little bit well off. Her mother is white, her daddy is black.
She going from
No.
living poor and now the money
No, and
rolling.
So they just probably had a phone
No.
or something.
After she got, her husband doesn't really have, even though she doesn't work, her husband has worked and he was in charge of the Abaco airport for years, and she didn't work. She had moved to Abaco while he was there, and now he got and he got a job in, I think, Orlando it is they live, and so she moved with them there. She's always been a housewife. So
And there's nothing wrong with that.
yeah,
But
but
even I had a client the other day who she has never worked a day in her life, but she has money
yeah.
from her family wealth, and then through her family wealth, she just used it to create different sources of income and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's
But she
very
don't work.
sad though. It's very sad. But I always, for years, I've known Leah to be very giving, very honest, very helpful. So I'd be surprised, you know. And
The truth will come out.
yeah, the truth will come out eventually. Yeah.
They say she had $94 in the account or something.
That was
So
frozen
go
before
fund
she
it.
said that.
Yeah, GoFundMe
It
had
was frozen
Yeah.
before.
See what happened is for GoFundMe, it's a crowdfunding business where you get persons to make donations from around the world. In order to, one of the criteria is that you must be an American,
Yeah.
and none of them were technically an American. Now, after Leah got her citizenship, like somebody else had opened and then tried to turn it over to Leah. So then Leah didn't have a citizenship at that time. Then she got her citizenship, and so then she became in charge of it. But GoFundMe had stopped it and said y'all already missed one of the criterias, and that's so the U.S. could get their tax.
Yeah.
And so that's what the first case was. So to get the U.S. tax out of this, so much millions of dollars before it goes to the Bahamas. And so that started the first thing. So then Leah got straight or whatever, got her citizenship, and so that was fine, and the U.S. was able to take their tax. But then I don't know what else happened. I don't know what happened after
I
that.
think what I mean too, they were saying too that they didn't have they didn't give them an account from the last hurricane.
From
the money
Joe
that they
Quinn.
collected from the last hurricane.
Nah.
And then after that, then then it was from one thing to the next. But to me, it's just, I don't even want to say a pissing contest because it's females.
Yeah.
But all it is where two friends fall out.
Mhm. And they
not
had each
responsible for that.
yeah. Mhm.
Because if she's to me, if my thing is, if she is already transferred over $1.7 million to you, and GoFundMe said that they froze some of this money, and the other, okay, GoFundMe said, I think they say they froze $200 and some thousand dollars, and then she had to pay some $200 and some thousand dollars for whatever flights and stuff that she would have organized and sent to Abaco and Freeport from there.
Yeah.
What money are you looking for?
Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah,
can't
that's
find out
what
too.
And let me tell you something. Where the people just needed to get out. It's very hard to keep account. It's very hard to track all of that. It was crazy.
Especially when
It was
you're
crazy. They were being stopped. It was crazy. It was chaos down there.
Gina needs to be now held accountable, because what are you doing with the money here?
Right.
She using it for legal fees.
What legal fees?
It's
girl?
so hair.
And which makes no
Run
sense.
that, yeah.
I'm sure that was not the purpose of any of
Exactly.
that.
That is
Yeah.
not the purpose for that.
Yeah.
Because the distribution center, you giving out stuff once a week.
And so now we see how terrorists and why they use charities because it's
To fund,
disorganized
You
and
could filter the money
you could
wherever you
send it
want to
anywhere.
send it.
And you can donate it, because like they
Right.
were saying, if they donate it, because she donated it, she doesn't pay taxes on it.
right,
So that's how they're trying to evade
right,
the government.
right.
He did
Okay.
avoid.
Yeah, when I think the government was gonna take what 30 or 40%. Yeah, so 33%. So could you imagine that?
Yep.
Of what? How much was it? 3 million?
Close.
Yeah. And so
That's
and it's
1 million gone immediately to government.
yeah. So yeah, that was what they was trying to avoid. Let's say, but you know that's what happened. Okay, good. So we didn't have our books, and for those of you who know what we do is we read, and y'all may say, whoa, why y'all talking so much, and why y'all talking about all these things, but this is what we do. We read the chapter, and then we come and we just have a discussion based on what happened in the chapter. I normally give homework as well. Everything that you get for homework is going to be on the final exam. Tell me what Miss Dean up to the front of your book, because we always having a controversy in terms of the points. Tax and
Class
quizzes.
participation 10%, quizzes and exams 20%, final exam 70%.
Okay, so
So that's probably homework.
okay, so homework and quizzes. No, I didn't give any quiz in the intro, but I could give a quiz halfway through. No.
It might help us.
Let's do it. Let's
That
do
would
it.
help you. No, you don't think that help you? A quiz?
Take
No, not at all. Stop it, Audrey. Stop it.
Open book.
No. Y'all don't need
Yeah,
to
I
open
should
book.
give us the
Can you
open
tell us
book.
what you did on the exam?
I was very pleased. The
When
exam was
I
too
passed
easy.
that exam, I said, what?
What?
Yeah, I
She kept, Miss Dean kept asking me, because I already expressed that I wanted to do the intermediate, but after the exam, I said, Miss Dean, I must have to wait.
agree.
So she
Retake it.
came to me again. Gabby, you still need to tell me if you can take this intermediate. I'm like, you still need to tell me if I pass.
Yeah, that's
So
what
you
I
want
was
to say
doing.
results? I say results? I say, oh Lord, wait,
Yeah.
pass?
Yeah, that was
I really
that was too easy, and definitely intermediate
I
book.
don't think it was.
That's
just a-
yes, don't open your mouth.
Uh,
That was too. You don't even do like that. We got a lot of 90s and a lot of high 80s. Yes. Because everything that y'all had for homework, and what happened with homework? Let me tell you what happened.
Because remember, I had given you all 3 or 4 of my homework
At the
one
end,
time,
so you
and
didn't know your
I
grade,
exactly.
right? Yeah, and then you got very high grades with the homework. So going in, you could go in with the full 30%, because if you participate in class and you talk back to me and you tell me what seminars you attend and you tell me about the newspaper, you get your 10% automatically. If you do your homework, I expect everybody to get 100% on their homework. If you're getting 80 and below on your homework, you're doing something wrong. Okay? Most persons went in with the full 35%
Yeah.
because they attended Rotary, Kiwanis, or what's the next one? Toastmasters, and you get an extra 5%. So persons went in the exam with full 35%. Okay? And then they got very good grades on the test. So the test was too
You can't
easy.
see it.
Yeah, that test was wrong.
You can't see the test papers. Just ask her.
I mean, you could go make an appointment with Miss Dean and she could pull it out. But you can't take it.
No, I don't
You can't take it, you can't copy it, whatever. But anybody who got over 90%, stop. That is. Anybody who got over 85%, there was nothing else you could have done. Okay? You probably got points off because you quoted one thing wrong or you didn't include one part or what have you. But you had like, out of the 10 points, you had 8. So don't stress yourself out. I was very pleased, and I said I have to beef up intermediate because that was too
I
easy.
think it was more.
It wasn't too easy, but it was
For
good.
me, I just want to see like where what I could have improved on.
Nothing.
That kind of.
Absolutely nothing. Nothing.
Well,
No,
it was a really good learning class.
Yeah.
Right,
It was
but
a
Yeah,
lot
very
of
good.
information, and y'all knew how to scale it down.
Yeah.
And y'all know how to apply it, so I was very, very proud. But then I said, must he give you all the answers?
No, I think what happened was
some of them questions I was puzzled like how to question, but I said, guess what? I think this
she got
makes this.
100%.
I know, right?
You know?
100%.
I think what was for me, because we talk so much. First, I didn't understand it until I went to the exam, and everything you were saying, I couldn't remember.
Remember?
Oh
Okay.
yeah, you remember that time?
Because the class interactive,
and
yeah.
all of that. So I was when I
So that helped.
yeah, I just talk about what you talk about.
Well, right.
Yeah,
Some people quoted me word for word. If I word for word. I think somebody in right, so and Miss Bullet said,
Oh my goodness.
I just give you
the
back
people
what you tell
quote
me.
me.
You couldn't give me that wrong. That may have been. So you said it, so that's gospel.
Fact check me, please. Fact, no, but I was, like I said, I was very, very proud, and so I know y'all can do more, and definitely do your homework. And I have the switch of these. I can't give you all the whole answer. I said I must give the people the whole test.
About some multiple choice because they were a little
Yeah,
tricky.
multiple choice.
Yeah, but surprisingly, the lowest score I got on multiple choice, I think, was like 11 out of 50, and so I was, y'all guessed good. But number one, a lot of people got number one wrong, and I told y'all about that 100 times. We are not, if we say money laundering, is the, I forget the category is, but it was proceeds of a person's crime. And everybody put something of property, something exchange of
Proceeds
property.
of a person's crime.
Right.
The exact words of the book.
Book,
That's
right,
what I remember
right,
reading, so
right.
I circle that one.
Right.
So I said, boy, that's right out the book.
A lot of people put the something of property, the complex exchange of property or
I
what
put
have
that
you.
because I don't remember
And-
complex.
And then when we put on that exam, integration, layering, and placement, they say placement, intimidation, and layering, and everybody is picked that. Everybody is picked that. Like, yeah, they look for the thing and they go with it. Right.
Intimidation and integration.
No. So that's, I think, man, that is strict too much people. Everybody is picked that and just go on to number 2. So I had to advocate for that to come off. Yeah. So the multiple choices be tricky. But again, this is more detailed and again we want understanding. Okay, let's turn to typology 4 at the back. Now, let me tell you how the exam was set up and you all say, no, please don't do this. The exam is 1 mandatory question. And you know that coming from current events, right? And then 4 essays. For the last 2 years, y'all did recommendation 24. That was the mandatory question 1 year, and y'all already do that. So of course that ain't gonna be it this year. And then typology 4 is the Egmont group. Now, tell me who's the Egmont group. We can talk about it in chapter 1 today too. Who's the Egmont group? The group of FIUs around the world. Yeah. The group of FIUs around the world. So last year, the topic was fraud. And if you look in the table of contents, look at typology 4 at the back. Last year, the topic was fraud. And so if you look at fraud, there are 7 cases on fraud. And you had to read, throughout the whole class, we had that homework where you read the cases and you provided a summary on your thoughts of what came out of the case and what have you out of the 7. Okay, this year, because there's no awareness, and I think it was you and Bristol who said you can mind your business when you see the person's non-coherent in the hotel. Right? It was you, right? Okay. Good.
Human trafficking is suspicious.
So of course this year you're looking at the table of contents right there. At the bottom, 88 to 94, and you're lucky it's only 2 cases. So money laundering related to human trafficking, kidnapping, and illicit pornography. Okay, so y'all can start to read those cases and start to be able to explain them and what come out of them.
So we don't have to read this whole thing.
But you should, because again at the back all the different typologies is for your readings. But I mean you could go online and you're already reading the newspaper, all of that helps. You know, that's why they're at the back of the book.
You said
Anybody on
88
page 88? Because I don't know page 88.
You don't have page 88?
No, it's going from 87 to 89.
92.
Yeah, but it start on, it looks like it start on 89, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
just
89. Okay, so y'all read, it's only 2 cases and y'all read about that. And y'all can also go online. So let's start. Y'all need homework this week?
No, Mom.
Let's just get.
Are we gonna get homework every week?
No, not every week.
Not
So
this week.
let's just say this homework will not be due Saturday, it'll be the following Saturday. Okay, so that'll give you enough time to read.
Just
Yeah.
mellow in.
Mellow and you know,
So,
you'll
I'm 14 minutes.
yes,
What's
yes,
the
the
homework?
14th.
What's the
Okay,
homework? Read
so
it.
you're gonna read the 2 typologies on money laundering related to human trafficking, kidnapping, and illicit pornography. You are then gonna write a summary on both. Then you are going to go online.
Hold on. You said read the typologies related to money laundering. What?
Money laundering related to human trafficking, kidnapping, and illicit pornography. You can look in the contents.
Okay.
Look in the table of contents. It's from
Just
page
from
89.
89,
Yeah. And there's
Okay.
2 cases. After you read that, you're gonna go on and you go write a summary of the 2 and explain exactly what happened and how they were able to get away with it and what the FIU did to stop them. Then you're gonna go online and you're gonna fact check
You
that.
said what the FIU did?
Yeah, do a summary of the case. The 2 cases are in there.
And then you said go online.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
And fact check
Mhm.
that 170 black women in America, 170,000 black women in America are missing. 170,000 black women in America are missing. And it's because of human trafficking and kidnapping and all these different things.
When you say the fact check,
Y'all ain't had that in the news?
I heard that before, but
Okay.
what I'm asking is.
Right, just as
Yeah,
I
so
said.
when you go online and you Google it, you'll see that there's a ring. And some persons have been arrested and what they've done to clamp down on it and to say exactly what has happened. What
So
did
you
they
want
find?
us- Okay, you
Right,
want
just
us
all
to,
this one.
to write our findings.
Right,
after we
right,
look at that.
right.
So that's gonna be like like.
No, this
questions.
one essay, remember now, you go write
You
the
want to-
introduction, no plagiarism, no copy
because
and
that's
paste.
like to do with human trafficking too,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, so write your introduction, your first paragraph on the first pornographic material, the next one on human trafficking, and then this one is on the case with the 170,000 women that are missing in America. I want y'all to make sure that's true and that there is a ring and what's going on and how to protect all of us are black women, how to protect ourselves. Why is it black women and not white women or Chinese or Asian, or Spanish women? Why is it that?
For
But,
this, I think it's for human parts of it.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so
read a few years ago that something similar to this was happening where they were killing black men and using their organs, and they have like a whole black market where they sell it. There was a case of this young guy in high school where they assumed that students killed him. And they found him rolled up in a mat, and they concocted a story to say that he fell out and hit his head on the floor.
Wow.
But when they found him, he was rolled up in a mat. And when they did the autopsy, they found incisions about his body and organs were missing. That's the same thing that they said happened with the girl that was drunk and stumbling around in the hotel.
Okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
so y'all can put that in, and then y'all can also talk about the 39 Chinese. Remember, they stopped the
the
40
container.
45-foot container truck, a normal truck stop. Police stop, and they say open up the back. When they open up the back, they found 39 Chinese males with no organs.
Wow.
Yeah, so y'all can put all of that in there.
And then shortly after that, you remember they had where somebody just walked up to the hospital and dropped a bag of organs.
What?
Okay,
Where
so
did
all
this
of that to make your essay.
I don't
So
remember, but they said they just saw a bag I think when they went outside, it was just a, like an unidentified bag.
But that's a really
And
lucrative
because it is
industry though, or
Yeah, okay, so that's why I need awareness, and so y'all who work in the hotel, when y'all see these girls at 2,
And
3
they
o'clock in the
drugged up
morning and they drugged up and they non-coherent, you send a letter to compliance, right? Compliance will have to come and investigate it, and then I want y'all to be aware, when y'all become the compliance officer in the hotels, they'll have the nerve to go and investigate these type of things and call the FIU and get some help, and not just turn a blind eye, because obviously for 172,000 to be missing, people are just turning a blind eye. Nobody saw nothing at no point that could have helped to save these lives or helped for these girls not to be kidnapped or placed in the human trafficking or smuggling. And bring Adrian, of course, Adrian is out on bail now. The U.S. is saying he is on a fugitive. Put all of that in because that's applicable to us.
These areas are so, the physical space is so vast, and the people don't share information. Like, something going on in your jurisdiction, you don't share that. There's a trend going on there. Some other jurisdiction, something's going on, nobody's sharing that.
And this is why the FIUs come together and say,
yeah.
listen, this are the most prevalent cases around the world, and this has happened in Asia, in Europe, in Australia, all over.
Because a lot of things, like with these truck stops, and then sometimes the people live in isolated areas, and they say, well, let me catch a ride with the trucker or whatever, and they do it.
Guess what? And this ain't the first time in the UK. The first time it was 750 bodies with no organs, what they found. This a little 39. It was like, oh, it's only 39, and we were amazed. No, they found 750 before. Okay, so a big ring, and whatever happens, if 170,000 missing in America, what happened to us next? Everything that happened in America, what?
But not only they could sell them, they could be experimenting on them, because people experiment on animals, but they may want the real
human body and
McCoy to experiment on.
Yes.
I was watching something recently on Curiosity Stream. You guys look at that channel on TV.
It's not even
It's on cable 260, and now they are using DNA to make human organs. They made a little heart the other day. You can see the little tiny little heart, but they are continuing, and this is a business that people are getting into, and they're going to be making organs too. So in terms of having to wait a long time on a transplant list, that would mitigate your wait time, but they're trying to create organs, and then they ran into all, we gotta make sure all the blood supply in place and all the valves and all, but they have a little tiny, you need to see it in a little petri dish. They have a little tiny heart, but that's
feel
what
like
they're
that's
doing.
similar to what they're already doing now with the implants and putting little things in your heart to make it function properly, and putting the discs in your back when you have a slip.
But they'll be able to give you a new heart.
Exactly.
Take out
They
the old
probably
one,
put
put
that
a new
whole
one.
skin grafting thing and trying to modernize the way they do things.
Right, and somebody said, and this could just be a rumor, that this is why the Queen could live so long to 94, I think she is.
Boy, that's
Because she
amazing.
goes and she has her blood transfused, where they take all her blood out and they put new blood in her and all sorts of stuff they say she's
And
doing. That's why
true.
she right, and
She's still young because the Lord wants us to.
I mean, I guess
but I still think it's an element of truth to it.
How much centuries Rockefeller done it before you finally do it?
I think it's
But that's what they say, they infusing her with children's blood, and so how are they getting this amount of blood to keep infusing her every single
Because your
time?
little body only holds so much. But I'm stem cell with Niger.
I
I say
Okay.
the stem cell
he
for
want to
himself.
live forever. Because I saw him on the table.
So where's he at now?
Where is he? Because he's a fugitive.
He's a fugitive because he's out on the New York courts. They went into
The
his
FBI raided his
place the other day. So is he still here?
No.
He probably in Canada.
Because Canada have a thing out for him as well. So Canada, the US, and I
And the
say
Bahamas.
right.
So where's he at?
Somehow
He
in
probably
South
Europe.
America.
You never know.
South America. But he has had a criminal history from 1970.
Wow.
Some of us wasn't born in 1970.
No.
Okay.
So see, we go right back to it catches up with you.
Yeah, but you got away for 50 years. How? Because you
Because
have money.
paying off people.
Because
But
you
even
have
these
money.
same rape allegations, a lot of those people, they were willing
course not.
participants.
Yeah,
exactly.
Where they coming from
Yeah.
now?
Exactly,
Yeah.
because they used to get paid.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, but you still shouldn't
But it
exploit
was
people.
wrong,
It's
yeah,
still
so-
exploitation. Yeah, still exploitation. Okay, and so for the new persons, because everybody else in here familiar with the FATF recommendation, the 40 recommendations are right there at the back of the book. So you familiarize yourself with them because, of course, we expect you to be quoting recommendation says this and recommendation says that. And for the ICA, which is the next step up, they have 4 questions for their first paper. And one of their questions is, what are the international standards in regards to new technology payment systems like the PayPal, the IPS, the mobile payments? So what are the international standards? And so where would we get the international standards from?
FATF.
Who else? Who else? The FIU. Who else? The
Yeah,
Wolfsburg. Right, and we can talk about all of that in chapter 1. Okay, so good. You know the international standards, and then it says, after you say what are the international standards, what measures, they say in a jurisdiction of your choice, and which would be our jurisdiction? The Bahamas. What does the Bahamas do, or what has from these international standards, what has the Bahamas implemented to mitigate these risks? How do they detect them, and how do they prevent them?
I have a question. With the ICA, what is the ICA? Like, is it a diploma? Is it a...
Yes, it's a high level diploma. It's International Compliance Association. It's out of Manchester in the UK. It's 2 parts. It's 9 months of AML and 9 months of governance, risk, and compliance. And so you write 3 papers, 25 to 3,500 words on AML, and they give you various questions. And then on the governance, risk, and compliance side, you write 3 papers as well.
Is it higher than the ACAM?
It's the ACAMs. Okay, you familiar with the Canadian Securities and the Series 7?
I know what the
Okay, so the Series 7 is accepted worldwide. Canadian Securities is only accepted in Canada or in a Canadian institution. So, same way with ICA and ACAMS. ACAMS is like a watered down version of ICA. It's shorter, it's cheaper, but it doesn't have the detail. And the regulators, in just some conversations that we've had with them, they're gonna stop accepting ACAMS because it's a regulated function to be the compliance officer. And you have to have, so the regulators have to approve it. And you have to have 3 to 4 years of experience, and you have to have either the ICA or the ACAMS. They're accepting it now, but they're encouraging that the persons who took ACAMS go and also do ICA. So you might as well do ICA one time, and but if you feel that it's pardon?
So much of them to do.
So much.
So many of them to do to complete the exam.
Oh, so much different parts. Oh, okay, yeah. I'm not familiar with the parts, but again, it's US based, USA based, and we're common law, we're UK based. So that's the difference as well. So you learn all these rules.
If you were to get the ICA, you won't be able to practice and carry that to the US.
Yeah. It's a work just like I was saying, the Series 7 accepted in the world. Canadian security is only Canadian institutions or Canada. Same way, ICA, the world, ACAMS is USA based. So some persons may say, you need to go and get ICA, depending on what institution you work at. It just depends. So I don't know if they're gonna beef up, change some things, do whatever, but I don't think they're gonna let it go as far as where the regulator says you still have to do ICA. So they may add some classes or do whatever needs to be done to make it equivalent, but some people prefer it because it's easier.
Do the employers, are they understanding what is required for compliance officer?
They know.
But they seem like they have a whole, like they want you to do the audit, do this, do that, do nesting, and not really zoning on the compliance or
Okay,
the
let me tell you.
councils as such. It seems like it's they overreaching.
Yeah, they are because they compliance makes no money for the institution.
Right.
That's
So
why. And
So
so
they're trying to get you
Right.
know, do everything else,
they can give you 10
which is
roles.
counterproductive.
Yes, so they'll
Yeah.
give you 20 roles if
We've
they
seen
could.
that in the
Yeah.
job descriptions when
Yes.
they
Yes.
advertise
Yes,
in the
yes.
papers.
And it's up to you to go into those institutions and say, listen, it can't work this way. You need a risk person, you need an AML person versus a compliance person, and a lot of them don't want to spend the money, so you have to advocate because they're already paying you $80,000. They can't pay 3 persons $80,000, and so it's up to you to go in there and say, I'm going to need some assistance. And when you develop your department, you have one person dealing with risk, one person dealing with AML, one person dealing with compliance. We audited Scotiabank, and that was one of the things he said, this person is overwhelmed, there's no way she can do all these functions. And we actually had to write, Scotia still didn't do anything, and we had to report them to Central Bank, and Central Bank ordered them to hire 2 more persons. That's how, and that's Scotiabank.
And I think Central Bank may have to play a greater role with that. I know someplace I was and they hired a lawyer, and then they look like they put the compliance on her, and then she still had to write all the litigation, that. So you be running around like a chicken without a head.
Yeah. So it depends on the size of the business and the amount of clients.
Yeah.
If you only have like 100 clients, then you could do compliance and risk on AML. But anything over like 300-400 clients, it's impossible. It's impossible to do it.
And you may have 100 clients now, but that may change.
Yeah, so when it changes, as the accounts come in and they open up, then you say my department needs to be developed. And you have to advocate to get that help, or you will be overwhelmed. Things will slip through the cracks.
So I guess, you know, when people like you or us talk or whatever, I think Central Bank needs to play a greater role with that.
They do.
With telling these people, you can't, you do the audit, you do the this, you do that, you know, count this, that, and everything.
Right. So let me tell you what they've done. Because they see that this is what the businesses are doing, they created an analytics department. And so the analytics department, they have relationship managers for every bank. And so it's like hands-on. You pick up the phone, you call the regulator, and you say, these are the things that I'm experiencing. They also meet with you once per year, and this is where you confidentially discuss all the issues that you have. And they are showing up to 1 board meeting per year. Surprise to find out. So the compliance made a request 3-4 months ago. Has it been satisfied? Stuff to give you more support. So there's a whole lot more support there. And like I said, the department is hands-on. Daily they sending out requests, and they want it right away, and so they know how overwhelming it could be. Okay, so once you have just the head of compliance has to be approved. You could have 4 or 5 compliance officers under you, but the head has to be approved.
Right.
That's the regulated function.
Yeah.
Right. No, but like I said, it's much better, and compliance is supposed to be independent of the business. You should be doing nothing operational, but again, they have you doing, central filing under compliance, verification under compliance, all these different things. It's up to you to speak up, okay? And try to hire persons, because another thing with being compliant is if you have to ensure that there's proper segregation of duties. And if you use a one-man band, use the preparer, the verifier, and the checker. So I always say the checker checking the checker, and I write you up for that immediately.
And the thing is, you could examine 1,000 cases, and then it's that one case that's the problematic case that blows everything out the water.
Yeah.
So you need to be focusing on your, analysis and whatever.
Right. Yeah, you can mitigate risk, you can't eliminate it. But if you are so overwhelmed, trust me, these things will sneak right up on you, and you don't even know. Like for instance, I know one bank was complaining that a sheik had given somebody this money to invest in developing nations. The guy brought in $150 million. In 1 year, $140 million had just left that bank. Nobody even knew. When they pulled the file, they saw the wires, spun wires, and they was like, where did this money go? When they looked, they called the guy on the phone, what did you do with the money? he said, oh, yeah, the sheik of one of these UAE countries gave me this money to invest in developing countries. But I approached, you see how we turned down some money from the IMF? I approached the Bahamas and they said they didn't want it. And then I just had some friends who needed loans. So I opened up a loan financing business and I started giving out loans. And so that's where on the file, all these loan contracts was on the file. And nobody just had time to notice. But all that money had gone. And here now comes the sheik saying that he wants an accountant of where all the money going. He wants the bank statements and he wants to see what happened. And so he could come to the bank and say, you didn't do proper due diligence, because specifically this account says, and we have the letter on file that says, this is his donation to developing countries. He didn't allow this guy to open up no loan facility and lend out loans to his friends. The guy even gave himself a loan. His wife. The whole contract was on the file with him and himself.
And that probably the first loan.
Okay, so imagine, and the sheik was saying only because he was a trusted friend or what have you, and the people been making the payments back, repaying that, but we wasn't supposed to allow that to happen. Like the man running a business out of our bank, and we don't even know, you know. So yeah, you have to. That's the type of things happen when you overwhelmed. Because we were only at that bank to keep it open because it was about the shutdown. But so much other crazy stuff was happening. But that was one of the things that happened. $140 million in 1 year out the bank.
Wow.
And good thing he did something legit. He could have said, I invested in some startup that fell apart or something
Then
else.
y'all would have to be paid out.
Okay, because of course if it was like a total loss, or even now if those people stop paying, you don't think you approach that bank again? Okay, because specifically the profile says this is what it's for. And remember, we can't be buying Rolex watches and property. There you go. You have to make sure it's specific to whatever the profile of that account says, so you have to be careful. You know what I mean? When you do these reviews and monitoring to ensure that the money goes where it's supposed to go, because the system don't always flag it, you know? So yeah, be careful. And that's another thing, you have to make sure these institutions have the proper flagging systems, because you can't keep account of, okay, so then, you know, no, you don't accept it, man. You can't, some people just have operating accounts. They have 15 and 20 wires going to one account. They have 6 accounts. You can't manually, you know, so the first thing as compliance, when you go into these institutions and you see they don't have a system, you look for one. That's why you attend these conferences.
Make them buy it.
And you make them buy it. There you go. And that's, because like I say, everybody can go to jail. All these things just help you. Okay? It's a part of assessing the risk.
And if they don't want to purchase it, then you leave.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, it's outside your appetite.
They don't want to spend money.
Yeah. Yeah, and you will find out a lot don't want to spend money. So before you take the people job, these are the type of questions you ask in the interview.
And they can end up spending money because they didn't.
Right, they get paid in fines.
There, nobody's fines, eh?
And this is what I had to do this entire job. I have to quote, failure to blah blah blah. I used to walk around in every meeting saying failure to comply is $500,000. It's $1 million.
But they ain't gonna learn to lay your head, because I work in a place, microscopic cheap. They don't want to do anything until they have to spend. But that's not progressive, because you have to keep upgrading and you know, monitoring and staying on top of things. You don't just wait till it crash.
Yeah, you have to teach what it is. We are we proactive and not reactive. Yeah, and that's just human nature.
Yeah.
So we have to, if you want to be a top tier business, this is what you
gotta
do.
be proactive.
Yeah, you have to be proactive. Yeah, we are very reactive. Somebody have to die first and then we make it happen. No, prevent it, put the controls in place, and this is what we could go into the book now. This is what it says in chapter 1. It says FATF and its risk-based approach. And this is what recommendation 1 says, the very first recommendation. Assess the risk and identify it, put controls in place to mitigate it, okay? And this is what countries must do. And tell me what is happening with our national risk assessment? Anybody knows? What's happening? Nobody? Okay, I told you all the story. We went to New York, tried to bring our trading desk from Switzerland. I told you all that story, right? I tell you all the story. I tell some stories. Okay. All right. So here it is. We pay Switzerland more than $100,000 for our trading desk, and just to send different fees and the wires or whatever for the securities. We have the traders here in Nassau. So why do we need to send this through? Right? So to get in the US market, we need an account with the bigger boys like the Morgan Stanleys, the Wells Fargo, and what have you. So we went to New York trying to open up this account. This is what they said. We don't do business with high risk jurisdictions. Okay? And so we said, but we are not high risk. So where did they go?
The index.
To the Basel Index. Pulled it up. They don't see a rating for 2000 and this was in 2018. So there was no rating for 217, no rating for 260, and no rating for 250. The last rating was 214. So they said, you gotta be kidding me. That said medium high, and how do we know that things have not changed? And we advocate media. They say no, unless you could bring us a risk assessment, or you could call the Basel committee on the phone and say, please risk rate the Bahamas. There's nothing we could do. So what happened? Why is our risk assessment not complete? 22 of our recommendations was deficient. One was the non-financial FMPs, you all know what I mean, the accountants, the lawyers, and what have you. So they weren't even regulated. So on the part of the risk assessment that needs to be filled out by them, by their regulator. Who was their regulator for the last couple of years? Only until 2019, the Compliance Commission was established as the regulator for them. Only until 2019 was the first time that they had to be regulated, or they couldn't get licensed. So imagine this the first time, they on a learning curve now. They don't believe they need this to get licensed. They don't believe they have to answer no questions for no survey, and they ain't paying all this money for no compliance officer to come in their institution, right? And so that's where we were at the whole 2019. So 2015, 16, we did a halfway risk assessment that was incomplete because every sector has to answer to it. The insurance sector, the banking sector, whatever falls under the Compliance Commission. Gaming wasn't even regulated back then. When did gaming get regulated? 16. Okay, so around that time, Sebastian wasn't filling out no form and hiring no compliance for 50,000. No way. So now, so that's exactly what happened. So they even haven't filled out their section, and that's the gaming is the high risk, section, and the law firms, right? And so therefore, with all these sectors not being properly regulated, nobody was doing what they're supposed to do. Hence, the risk assessment wasn't done. And so, what they say, the net effect was us having to continuously pay this $100,000 plus the 2 traders' salary unnecessarily when we could have just opened up our account and get into the U.S. market without going through Switzerland to get to the U.S.
How much do you pay in Switzerland again?
More than $100,000 for a trading desk. Okay, and then they get a percentage off of every commission off it, right? And all of that. Yeah, per year. And they
so it looked like we had to end up keeping them until we took them off.
Yes, and so that's the net effect, right? Wasting money, and that's only one institution. Imagine other institutions in Bahamas that have to do the same thing, right? Because the U.S. now, remember, when they created FACA and it wiped out all of the private banking, they gave us the Volcker Act that said you cannot trade online you cannot trade onshore in the U.S. So that means the New York Stock Exchange had to pack up and move offshore to the Bahamas, to Cayman, to Bermuda to trade in the U.S. market. So all those traders moved here. And so of course all the trading desks should have moved here. Yeah. But here it is now, we going out trying to cut out all these extra fees, and we still can't do it because they don't know what we are rated at the moment, and God help us, we are rated at risk, right? And so what did the governor do? Remember I told you all, he has created this DARE, the DARE bill. Anybody know about it? The sand dollar?
Yes.
Right, and so they launched it in Exoma, and it seems to be working and everything is good. He has to implement it because with the casinos and all these money services businesses, we are seen as high risk, right? Anytime you have high cash inflow, you're seen as high risk. You would see in the Canadian banks, they say we don't even open up money services business. So there's Western Union and Grace Kennedy and MoneyGram. They too cash intensive, okay, and that causes a higher risk. And so this is why when y'all see they push the sand dollar down your throats and say you have to, it has to be done. Because if we get on high risk, even the amount of money that we borrow and the percentage that we borrow at is going to be ridiculous. And what has to be done on us? Enhanced due diligence, which means they need more information, more monitoring, more all these sorts of things, right? And so we just can't afford it. We can't afford it, and so therefore this is why they're pushing this they call it the sand dollar, to at least eliminate, and there are other initiatives that they have to put in place to ensure that we don't become high risk. Now when we get ourselves together, even the credit unions, you know, billions of dollars in the credit unions, and they seen as NGOs. So there are some taxes that they don't have to pay. And so people are all around the world saying, my God, switch the, what do you call it, product type for these credit unions, because that's who have all the money. And they really do have all the money because that's the only place that has interest rates now, right? Only the National Workers Union, the Teachers Credit Union ain't even giving interest no more, but National Workers and the other one, you can get like 3% on your money. Nowhere else, no bank. Every bank is 0.0%. Right? So everybody, of course, there was a bank run, and they take their money into the credit unions. And the credit unions do not have to pay the tax. So Central Bank has now regulated all the credit unions and have put so much stipulation, all the regulations of a bank. Everything that we do, they have to do now. And so, therefore, they mad. And they saying, first of all, they pull somebody who been there for 30 years, who knows nothing about compliance, who in my class now, to be the compliance officer. Force them to learn it. And then they stick risk rating down, risk assessment. Remember, the risk assessment had to be done by June, and then the next one by October. And so she said, it's nothing I could do, Miss Bullet. I just don't know what to do.
She need to have an ICA.
But she just started. She
She
started with intro. But she had to start.
So they put her in the
right.
wrong.
And so of course,
work under somebody who already have it.
of course, you know they got a fine last year. At least 4 of those credit unions got a fine, and then not only did they fine them, let's say $50,000 to $100,000. I was reading something the other day. It said, and $250 a day till it's done.
Wow.
Yes. Wow. Okay, so tell me if she gonna have a job. You don't even know bonus, right?
Nope.
Okay, will she even have a job?
Nope.
Did they even pay her? Did they even, was she even able to negotiate her salary to get some pay before she even realized the extent of what she had to do?
No, they just tell her.
Okay, go report to compliance. What is compliance? We never had it before. Okay, so that's where we are at. So all these different sectors don't believe they have to do it, don't spending the money, and then they want to hire the cheapest person who does not know.
Yeah.
Okay, and send them to school.
Which will be to them.
Yes, to their detriment. And all the fines rolling in and what have you, and then you have to turn around and answer nationally. Okay, and so hence the Bahamas can't get this risk assessment off the ground. Right? And so heavy fines, because like the FATF coming in, they say they coming in to help. No, they coming in to see the attitudes of these. Yeah, they coming to see the attitudes of these persons.
And the people they have in the FIU is their people, right? Who
No,
they brought in.
no. So one of the criteria was that the FIU had to be revamped, and all of the regulators. So you see half of the Securities Commission and ICA, and at least 10 persons from the central bank in ICA, and they are inspectors. So immediately when they finish, they have to implement all these things. So the FATF coming in and bringing, they say 5 workers, and they strategically go put them in different sectors to say, push these people. Now I know when we go into sectors, they may give us a chance because we are on a learning curve. But we have gone into like a finance department and said, give us the CVs of everybody in the department. And if she is as honest as she was with me and saying, Ms. Bullard, only because I've been there for 25 years and they didn't know what else to do with me, and I don't know nothing about compliance, I ain't even interested. This is the only way I can have a job. This is why. If she say that to them, that's it. Now they gonna make them pay the money. But the people who, you know, they place, they have to go if they have the wrong attitude towards it. You know, because even that's a big risk.
Right.
You know,
You're disinterested.
You're definitely interested. So, you know, you have to be careful with you. If you want your job, you have to be like, okay, this is new to me. However, I am willing to learn. I am in the class. I am at the seminars. I am aware. I am networking with people. I have people I can call on to find out information. Right? But you can't say the wrong thing. So we understand how the risk assessment, we know why it's not done. And we understand that they send out all of this to the banks. So every bank will fill out surveys or do a risk assessment and send it to the central bank. The central bank will then compile all that information and then fill out the risk assessment on behalf of banking. The security sector too sent millions of surveys. You had to do a risk assessment for them. Gaming had to do a risk assessment. The lawyers have to do one, the accountants, and the real estate, and these are the people who have a corporate service provider's arm. Not people who doing criminal or just selling houses or Shirley Street. No, but they have a corporate service provider's section where you could go in there and they say, oh, we could send your wires for you, and we could do your deposit at the bank, and we could pay your staff. Okay? Alright, so we understand recommendation 1, and that's the first recommendation. Assess your risks, put controls in place. And on this risk assessment, I wonder if I have one in my bag. Very detailed. We had 3 trainings on it. They didn't give us much information. They said, you are the experts, you go out and you assess the risk in your business, and you come back and you tell us what controls you put in place. Okay. And I can pass this around. Y'all don't look at the people name. This is the one I pass around here. Y'all don't look at the people name. And their bank. Some of these stuff are stolen. I don't want to go to jail. Okay, so y'all just look at the front, and so this is what we create. Like you will see, it talks about credit risk, market risk, operational risk, and then it goes further to explain each one. So our first one was credit risk. And so what we do is, y'all ever heard of the 3 lines of defense? No? Okay, so in each institution there should be like 3 lines of defense to protect, help mitigate the risk. So the first line of defense is the front line. Everybody who's serving the customers, who up front, who talking, who will be able to say, I was serving this drink and I see the girl non-coherent. So that's to pass the message, not necessarily to do anything, but to pass that message on. The second line of defense is compliance. I will pass this message on to compliance and they will go out and investigate. The third line of defense is then audit. Audit will then confirm that they receive an SDR internally, compliance went out, and we either filed something to the FIU or we did a report internally saying we gone out there and we investigate. Or we see that girl 3 nights, she was only high one night and did she seem to be coherent the next night or what have you.
Can you repeat the first line of defense?
First line of defense is front line. Front line staff, all the tellers, the loan officers, anybody
who deal directly with customers.
Who deal directly with clients.
And then it's compliance is the next step.
Yeah, and so I just want y'all to look at this because this is a big thing, and like I said, you had to do this last year. You had a very short deadline, and again, this was in place from 2000.
Sorry, what is that?
The risk assessment of the bank or the institution or the real estate company, the law firm, or the gaming island luck. Okay, and so this was a big thing last year. Again, that's what you got charged $100,000 for if you did not have it in place. Okay? So you assess the risk and you put the controls in place. So let's talk about some high risk stuff so we can get an example to make sure you all understand assessing the risk. Give me something high risk that requires enhanced due diligence.
Real estate.
No. Type.
Type of what?
That'll automatically, so real estate will make you high risk, but not high risk overall.
No.
But what will make you high risk overall?
Specific trust. Yeah.
Yeah. Correspondent banking, bearer shares, stuff like that. So overall, there's nothing what you could do to not be high risk in those categories. So of course, for PEP, what would we do?
Enhanced due diligence.
Okay, what that mean?
You need all that information.
You need to know the source of wealth, you need to know
the papers, all the
right,
Check,
the world check.
world check.
and then find out their affiliates, like their business partners, their
And then the
relatives,
nature
their
of their PEP
friends.
relationship.
Relationship, all right. And then we would say compliance will approve medium and low. The
And the
board
board.
or committee will approve high or PEP, so that's another control in place. And so essentially they want you to put that on that document. Yeah. And they roll out the 3 line of defense so everybody will know their part, and this is how everybody goes to jail. Because they say in this document, no, they bring it. No, they bring it and they say you are on the first line of defense, and you say the first line of what? What that is? Did they roll it out at their company? The 3 lines of defense? You won't know. Okay, fine, out though. See, when I the police, I come and so, Miss Smith, which line of defense are you?
None.
Okay, but at least you know that, right? I mean, before today, you know that if they did ask you which line of defense are you, to jail.
Straight
You
to
ready?
jail.
To jail. They say, that's why the people could have robbed the ATMs. This is why. You are hot?
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, I couldn't breathe.
Okay, let me ask you.
I
what
know.
happened.
It was
At least open a window.
That's what I mean,
Come on,
like,
let me
oh,
see.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
See, like medium,
Stop
with
it.
high risk, low risk.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
On the category of risk, so.
Well, the door open helps.
Yeah.
Cause it's cool in the hallway.
Okay. Yeah, so I open the door, they come in.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah, so we need to know, because like I say, stop signing up for these positions and we don't know. You can't say we don't know. You can't fail to disclose. $500,000 or 12 years in jail if you fail to disclose, right? Because you don't know. Don't sign up for these positions when you don't know. So y'all can pass that around and y'all see. Identify the risk, put the controls in place. Okay? Recommendation 1. Okay, and back to the ICA question. This is what it talks about, international standards. Who are the bodies? We know the FATF and their tasks, right? What are some of the tasks of the FATF?
Identify the money laundering.
Analyzing money laundering, financing, and other threats to the integrity of the financial system.
What else? What did they do for us in 2017 when they told us 22 were deficient?
They
Mutual
assist
evaluation.
You're right.
jurisdiction and implementing that in it.
Yeah, the mutual evaluation of July 2017, and out of that mutual evaluation, they didn't only do us, they did Belgium, they did Switzerland, they did a lot of countries around the world. And what did they say? 22 of your recommendations, and we know that there are 40 recommendations and 9 special ones just for terrorism. These are deficient. They cannot stand up in court. This is why you have never charged anybody with money laundering. So what happened? What did we do?
We revised our laws and strengthened them and put teeth in them.
Right, and so now we got largely compliant after we did the necessary changes into law. So we repealed and we replaced all the law. We know the one that's applicable to us when we go and travel. And your shoppers tell y'all drop with your $10,000, which y'all doing declaring, right? Because none of us going to jail. Our $10,000, could you imagine you ready to go to Miami and your $10,000 confiscated?
And you know
have a
that-
heart attack right
And you know
there.
the $10,000 isn't just US. If you have Bahamian or any
Yes,
other currency,
yes.
when they count that,
Yes. Yeah, so y'all make sure, okay? So we clear about the FATF. There are different regional bodies, because again, the FATF is worldwide. So which part of the FATF is the Bahamas in?
Caribbean.
Okay, so the ATF.
CFAT.
And we see those are the ones on page 8. There's Asia, again, on the pop quiz. When I used to give out a pop quiz, this is one of the questions on the pop quiz. You had to know 3 of them and what they represented and what areas did they cover. Okay? What's the one for Latin America?
Latin America Anti-Money Laundering Group.
Based in where?
Yeah, Buenos Aires.
Okay, what about
Argentina.
Russia?
Eurasian Group based in Moscow.
Okay, good. Okay,
Sound
so
like the two we need to know it.
no, I mean, but y'all say y'all want just homework, y'all don't want the pop quiz, but we'll see how it
When you
goes.
said that homework was due for
March 14th, yes, and if persons if less than 80%, then you'll have a pop quiz. If anybody, you know, no, because that'll make you study harder. Then you'll have to have more quizzes to make you study more.
The more you study, child.
Yeah, the more, but you gotta retain it. Don't be overwhelmed. And we used to have a pop quiz every class, just to keep you reading, because nobody reads. Everybody would show up to the class, and I say, "Which y'all read?" We ain't read, Miss Bullet. So what else can I do to make y'all read? Except give y'all the quiz every week.
I read. Let's read so
Okay,
much.
so good. So when I see a good grade on this, if I get everybody getting 100%, then I say we don't need to read
And on the homework.
on the homework. Yeah.
You want the 14, correct?
On the 14th,
Yeah.
right? So what about y'all need your extra 5% this semester? No way. Y'all don't need that.
You always need that. Anything will help.
Yeah, man.
Anything will help, of
All right.
course.
So this you have to come up, stand in front of the class and share. You don't just sit there and say, "I been." No more writing your 5% on the paper. You come up and you share.
Come up with jail.
Okay, good.
Come
And
up
for your
with
10,
jail, what, like an article or?
no, when you went to Toastmasters
Oh, okay.
and whatever, yeah, because I want you to not just go
Public
once,
speaking.
no one-hit wonders. Yeah,
Okay.
get used to. As compliance, you have to train, you have to stand up, you have to be comfortable. So use us to get comfortable. Make all your mistakes and be tight tongue like me, and then you just get over it. Right? Okay, good. All right, good. What else? Countries with strategic deficiencies. In 2011, the FATF identified 31 jurisdictions. So it wasn't us alone, you know. People saying, "Oh my God, the compliance, the Bahamas is not, it's deficient. They are not tax haven. They are the money launderers. They are this or that." But no. And in our ICA book, they actually broke the jurisdictions out, and they told us what deficiencies were in Spain, which were in Belgium, which were in Russia, all over the world. Okay? And so again, the mother of the that's the OCD, yeah, OECD. So the
Page 9.
Page 9, okay, good. Yeah, because we already talked about the mutual evaluation. We know that they came here, they did ours in 2017, we got that law. Right, and so just to say that strategic deficiencies were not only us, but in 31 other jurisdictions. The FATF has also issued guidance, best practices, and reports on specific topics like virtual currency, transparency, and beneficial ownership. Now, let me just tell you all something about you're familiar with best practice?
I've heard it before.
Okay, so best practice is not law. And you will find that if you work in one of these Swiss institutions, and I think I told you all about this, we call the AML guidelines from Central Bank our Bible, right? And so in our Bible, when it talks about what should be required to open up an account, some things say you may get this, and some things say you shall get this, right? And so you would find, again, remember I told you all the sales people are very antsy. They're the ones that make the money for the business. Compliance makes no money. So the sales are they put a lot of pressure on compliance to open these accounts and open them right away. Some of these salespersons are on commission. That means if these accounts don't open, they don't get a pay at all. So they extra on the coffee all day and cigarette, and they come in to sit in your face and tell you open this account, right? And so they don't believe in best practice at all, because it's a very competitive world out there. You dealing with high network clients, you know. When I was at Royal, to open an account with us was $250,000. You had to have a network of 5 million, and you have to be invited into those areas. Like you don't meet them at the fish fry, you go to the Life of Key Club, or you meet them in London or somewhere, right? So very, very competitive and very hard to try and convince them to give me $1 million, right? And so therefore a lot of pressure. And so when they come in with half of the documentation that is required, central bank has allowed 30 days. They say there are some things you must get when they say shall, and then some things that you may get. So within that, we call them regulatory documents that have to be in. And of course, rich people don't like governments, they don't like documentation, they don't like insurance. So all these papers that they, you know, and normally the application is like 40 something pages where they have to sign. They already tired signing. So you go trying to get all these documents signed, and they only bring in the minimum. This person was antsy, please, just with the money coming. So you making all these negotiations. Now compliance has to strike a balance, because nobody else makes money for the institution. So you have to do something. So sometimes you're dealing with governments, you're dealing with large corporations and what have you. So you have to use your discretion. Remember, compliance is decision based, right? And so you have to weigh it out. Will these people really bring the stuff in 30 days? Now we know after these accounts are open, you gotta give them blood to get an updated passport. I mean, you like your life have to be on the line for them to bring in anything else. But you have to keep the institution going. You have to have the proper monitoring in place. And like I say, most of them, they don't respect best practice. If it ain't in law, you will find it very hard. So we have spoken to the regulators over and over and over again. Please change these things in the AML directives that come from the regulator from May. Because when they see May, they say, oh no, you're being too stringent. You no longer work for those Canadians. Those Canadians will never make any money because they're very conservative. When the market crashed, only the Canadians survived. You see what I mean? And so you have to be careful with that. Okay? So to combat that, because like I say, you have to strike a balance. You have to be able to have a department, a verification department, or a tracking department will track these stuff. Because I know I told you all the story where there's some law where this Canadian guy shouldn't have been trading in the US market, and he filled out his W-Ben form, and before y'all come to class next week, y'all should know what a W-Ben or W-8 and W-9 is, because that's the next chapter. So he filled it out, and he put that he was from the Bahamas. I told you all, yes, yeah. And what did we not do? We did not get his citizenship or his work permit, right? And so, of course, when we get a subpoena for collusion from the U.S. government, we call him up on the phone and we say, hey, where's your residency? We about to get fined. He applied and was denied. He never called us back and told us. Because again, that salesperson would have to negotiate to say, hey, please just let the account open. He can get the citizenship next week. It ain't his fault. You know how the Bahamas government is. I'll go down there personally and pick it up for him. Then we put that file down and forget about it, because 10 other more scenarios and cases come up. And now look, we about to go to jail.
What
So-
type of form did you say was sorry?
The W8, so it's the US.
And then the W8 pen.
And yeah, so they are the US, I forget
And then the CRS form.
Yeah. The US forms that you sign when you want to trade and do securities in the US market. And some people use it for FACA instead. If they don't have an internal, if they don't have an internal form for FACA, they use the US form. But the thing about the US forms is that they expire every 3 years, and they are adamant about that, especially if the persons are trading. You can't be trading off of a expired form. So each of the forms have a little date in the corner, and they expire every 3 years. So you have to be careful with that. Yeah. Okay, so that's why companies create their own internal form and they say they put a 10-year expiry date on it. Because you could imagine every 3 years going out to the client trying to, but you need to have an expiry date on your forms.
Some countries have this thing where, like for Brazil, they have something called the Definitiva de Saída, something like that, where it's basically a declaration to say that even though you are still a Brazilian citizen, you no longer have tax obligations to Brazil.
No, okay.
Yeah, so we normally look for that when we have Brazilian clients who claim that they no longer live there, no longer have an obligation. It's only like a couple of pages, it's not long, but it has to be signed by a few people and
Yeah, but it's good, you have to get it now because a lot of countries now with CRS, this is what they're doing, fixing their tax problem. Right, so they're getting 30% off of the millions of dollars that are in the Bahamas accounts. And so therefore, all these little things now they snapping down on because they know that the banks ain't going out to the people every 3 years to update. And the ones where they could find them and we find 15 of them and make $30,000 each off of them, they can do it, they rich people anyway. You see what I mean? And so that's what you will see start to happen. And so this is why you got to be vigilant. You get gone are the days, gone are the days that you say, oh, we didn't have that work permit, don't worry, but did that expire? Oh no. When that expires, you better get that in. When those forms expire, especially if these people are trading, if the people don't trade, then it's fine. If those people are trading, you got to be sure because on there, I think you file a 1040 form or 1022 form for that withholding tax, and you are testing that all my forms are up to date and current. So how you are testing that? You signing your signature, they coming after you. After them people pay their 30,000 and complain, and they pull it out and they say how possible because your signature on it. So you have to be very, very careful. And we will talk about that in the next chapter too, of being a qualified intermediary and what it means. Because that's the person who will man all of this and ensure that the forms are up to date and ensure that the form W-1022 is filed to pay the U.S. their 30%. Yeah, so all of that in chapter 2. Okay, so we know about the IMF and we know why we are thankful to them. Why are we thankful to them?
Because they basically save people money.
Yeah, they loan us money.
And
Plus,
they wasn't sure we had the
insurance for Hurricane Dorian because they came in December, right? And so we know what they provide technical assistance to developing country. They hold the World Bank. Okay? And we did the essay on Hurricane Dorian already, eh? Okay, so you'll find some other stuff we ought to do. Okay, and we know who the OECD is. That's the people who always blacklisting us. They are the ones who established the FATF. Right? Back in whatever, 1989 or what have you. We know the United Nations. It's the overall aims of the UNODC is to assist member states in the fight against drugs, crime, and terrorism. It does this in 3 ways: research and analytic work, helping countries implement treaties and drafting domestic legislation, training and judicial officials on the ground. And we know they have all these different various conventions, the Palmero Convention, the suppression of terrorist financing. There was a big one from the United Nations on drugs. The United Nations Convention Against Corruption, it provides channels for governments to recover assets that have been illicitly acquired by corrupt former officials. So really now, how you get this money back from Shane? You call the United Nations say.
And he's for the government.
Okay, but the United Nations say they provide a channel for governments to recover assets that have been illicitly acquired by corrupt former officials. What they could do, and you could go get exile or what have you and just run off with the money. Okay, but it's something there in place to get the money back. That's what y'all should do. Something there in place. Okay? Okay, good. Any questions?
I forgot, because we were talking about the $10,000 Scotiabank was charged for closing the account of that's the law.
Maurice Clinton.
Maurice Clinton.
Okay, what they do?
he apparently didn't provide his, I guess, his compliance
Yeah.
information within a specified
Yeah,
period of
that's a big
time,
story.
and they closed his account.
But he
And he
sued them
them.
successfully, and
And
Scotia
he,
Bank had
and
to
he
pay
was awarded $10,000.
Based on what?
Because they shouldn't have, the judge was not satisfied that they had the right to close his account.
But what didn't they have?
I guess he had to update, you know, like how every so many years you have to update your KYC. Yeah. But he sued them and he won.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I have to read that to
Yeah.
find
You
out
know,
exactly.
send me a paper
Yeah.
maybe for 2 weeks back.
Yeah, I have to read that to see exactly because that's surprising.
Yeah.
Especially how, I mean, you know what the law says? The law says institution A can verify institution B, and institution B can go into institution A and get like a credit reference. So you could have gone to Royal Bank and say, do you have KYC on Maurice Clinton? And if they said yes, Royal Bank should have given
And it was his company
letter.
account, I think, too, not like his personal.
So he had to suffer some type of, some checks being
Yeah.
stopped or what have you. But he is regulated, that's why he won. Because the Canadians, like I said, they're more stringent than the Swiss or anybody else. So where the law says I want one piece of ID, their internal policy says 2 pieces, right? And so his company account is registered. He had to have a business license, and he has to be now registered by the Compliance Commission. And so once he was registered, you are supposed to depend on the regulator, and they call that exempted. Yes. And so once the regulator have it, you don't have, the Scotiabank is asking, because they want that, because they are exempted. And so, you know, with Royal, like I tell you, I worked at Royal Bank Trust, and when my passport expired, they blocked the account. Okay? I had to go and get my passport renewed like in a day to open that account back up to let, and that was Royal Bank to Royal Bank. That's how strict they are. But law-wise, it was ridiculous, because I was an employee, but you're blocking your own company account for, but that's just how strict they are. They don't play when it comes to that. And so they tell you up front, we do not accept exempted accounts. If you don't come in with full KYC, you cannot open an account here. And people have reported them to the regulators, because then it's, do you think that the regulator is incompetent? Because if we tell you,
that's what they imply.
that's why they want. Because if I tell you, if I provide in the law that I have approved this person and I have verified them, how dare you say you ain't coming waiting till the regulator find a passport to give you? No, when you have to prosecute this person or take them to court, you ain't waiting for nothing. That's what the Canadians basically saying. No, we want our own records. We don't want to have to ask anybody for it. And so, like I say, I was Royal Bank Trust and had to produce my passport. When my passport expired, the account blocked, the operating account, and paying all the RBC bills with all the customer wires going through. Are y'all crazy? So something like that had to be happened where he's regulated, he should have been exempted. And they should not even have been asking him, but their internal policy makes them ask. So you...
And that wasn't no small story either. That was...
Yeah, so I can look that up.
I have a work-related question. I'm going to digress a little bit, but everybody is from a different organization. Maybe y'all can help me understand this. I've been working at my job. This is my 14th year there. Nothing to do with compliance. I've never had a job description before. All of a sudden now... all of a sudden now, last week, it's mandatory and everybody signed this job description.
Yes.
Okay. I signed it because now I look at my foot out the door, I'm not gonna argue whatever y'all say.
Say Bill.
Number 10, I didn't say anything in my bag. Number 10 says, in addition to whatever else they listed, and anything else.
That's all normal. Yeah, that's normal.
That's fine.
All of it.
That's fine. But then now, what they're gonna do, they don't know what any of us do there. I mean, they don't know our qualifications, okay? Nobody in the building, besides the attorneys. They don't know nothing else what the staff does. So now, they're implementing this skills inventory, right? So my question to you guys is, should I, because I Googled it and I don't see no benefit for me besides the company.
Stop right in your tracks.
Go ahead.
You worked at a law firm that's
Right.
now regulated.
Uh-huh.
A statutory requirement is what?
Yeah, but
Y'all don't tell her. I want you to tell me what the statutory requirement is.
I didn't get that right, no man's on, guys.
Y'all have one.
Law. It's a legal requirement.
I know what it is. I
Yeah.
just
So
don't wanna-
training is a statutory requirement, right? And a part of them know it, but training you need. You have to
Have a job
give a new
description.
CVs, have a job description. On your job description, they should put AML required, all of that. And companies got fined last year for not having AML training. So that's what all of this is about.
I mean, once a year the FIU, they come in, they train everybody.
Yeah.
But I mean, but what is it, I mean, I hear it's a rule, whatever. But what am I benefiting?
You
I'm not getting
benefited
it
that
all.
okay, but the company is now being organized. They weren't regulated before, they are regulated now, and so they have a higher power to answer to. They will be subject to audits, depending on if your company is low, medium, or high. If it's high, so they're gonna come in every year, they are going to be audited, and these audit can cover everything one time. So 1 year they'll come in and cover HR, and I guess that's what they started with, HR. Because the thing about it,
That's
you
why they
can't
wanna make sure they have the signed job description,
chance
skills,
it all these things,
inventory,
right? And so when audit comes in and check that, you can't just be asking somebody for their CV.
Just doing it.
You can't just be
you
saying,
gotta
"Oh,
already
I."
have that.
Right, and where was the question? How we spoke about it today. How many people in your area? No, that's the central bank. I filling out a form now. It's called an annual return. Central Bank have it, Securities Commission Compliance Commission have it. How many employees have master's degree? How many have bachelor's degree? How many have ICA? How many have all of that? They want all of that on that annual return.
So, what you're saying is speak the truth.
Yeah, because it's a statutory requirement. They're saying what they want. All of this is the measures that when they beefed up these laws, these are what now the law requires you to have. And you have to know, like on this thing that's going around, one of these is HR risk.
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay, so then the first, second, and third line of defense. The first line of defense is that we have everybody's CVs. We have 3 MBAs, 4 bachelor's degrees, 3 people who have their CPAs or what have you, because I tell you, we went in and we said, the whole finance department, we said, give us your CVs. Okay, because they were already having deficiencies. And one of the deficiencies we found is that
No CPA.
nobody had a CPA, and it's the finance department of an international bank.
I think another reason why they're not targeting, but they're so hard on our company is we have like 1,000 reps who work there. Everybody there.
Sweetie pie, sweetie pie, you want me to tell you that that's one of the questions? What's the number of PEP accounts do you have? Do they have any loans? What positions are they in? Or all of that we have to put on this annual return. So, oh yeah.
Children are.
You had the UN saying we providing a channel for governments to recover assets. This is how, because they will have the documented information. Right now they don't have it, and so they gathering all of this. And they probably could tell y'all, come, y'all are too concentrated. But one time we tell a bank that you're too concentrated. If this bank defaults, you lose everything, all your money in one bank. You have to put some money somewhere else. Then we say, you have too many, you have correspondent banking, you have PEPs, you have bearer shares. You have to get, your appetite is too large. You have to give up some of them. You only do business with Iraq, Iran, what else? Russia and Venezuela.
So when they do the still inventory, right? I'm talking to the hospital staff, not me, I cover it. The rest of them need to fish it in. Everything.
Okay.
What's gonna happen with
Okay,
them?
this is why companies fail. When companies fail and they pull out these CVs, they can say, "My God."
But they're gonna start retooling once they, cause
Yeah,
that's
you
a
have
risk
to.
too.
Yes.
If you have a lot of unqualified people.
Right. You have to have the experience. Because, I mean, a lot of people have these degrees and they cannot perform. They show up to work every day and waste time all day. But then you have to have, but on paper, somebody have to have something. Or that's the first, and you are being deficient, shut down.
Yeah.
Shut down. And like I say, we have to act. And we need to act now because it can look bad if the ATF come in and start shutting down. See, central bank is used moral suasion. Central bank calling the people from Julius Baer and say close. Now they close and they call in another bank and say close before December 28th. Okay? They don't want to embarrass you. So you see all these banks in the papers and 20 people going home here, 30 people going home here. You know, the Securities Commission, they're different. They have you on their website. Active, what is it? Swiss is suspended temporarily. You see that? The pineapple people, do not do business with them. They do not have a license. You know, you see all of that out there. Okay, so this is what they're trying to avoid. And again, this is why you're reading these typologies. You will see lack of proper KYC, lack of due diligence, lack of all these things. People getting charged millions of dollars in fines every time there's an audit. Okay, and after a couple of them fines, that's it. Operational costs already too high. So, like I say, these people don't have a choice any longer. So just work with them, give them information, and be able to put on your resume currently enrolled. Okay, so because a lot of us sitting up in there who ain't been to school, we come straight out of high school, the man do nothing for the last 20 years. The man never do nothing right. So it ain't gonna work, it can't fly any longer.
Why do after this? No, I finish it after this. I don't. Because in where I work, they like to use people. That's why I say, what is my benefit?
Wherever you go, sweetie,
All
there's
these
a devil.
companies,
There's
all
no
these
way out.
companies.
You something in you know, like they say, be the change that you wanna see. You have to change your mindset. Because until you make your own seat, this is what you do, and this is why you go into entrepreneurship. If you're tired of this mess, then create your own company. But you need all these companies to learn, because most people is just learn what this person doing, that's copy and paste and open up their own business. Everywhere you go, all us, and must see 5 different sectors in here, and each of us have a horror story. They tell you every single day we show up to work, the devil right there waiting. Hey, Miss Bullock, welcome. Oh, every day. Every day. And so you know how to face your demons and your devils, and you pray them away. Judas was there on the side of Jesus, right? The whole way, right? What Jesus do to Judas? Nothing. He left them. What did Judas do?
All Jesus tell him is whatever you can do.
Do it quick, right? And did Jesus retaliate? No. His conscience kill him. His conscience make him hang himself. So you don't have to answer them back. You don't have to do anything. You show up every day like you work for the Lord. And you wear a smile on your face and you find joy within. Paradise is at home, not at work. You go to war and then you go to paradise. Change your mindset. Because there's no job where the devil's in there. Nothing.
And all of them, if you really think about it, you would feel like the people you was
everyone. You overwork and you underpaid everywhere. Anybody feel like they're comfortable and they're making enough money? Nobody.
Nope.
Be the change you want to see. That's within. Let them go. Show up every day and have your other stream of income. So the day they tell you, see you later, you say, okay, it was nice. Thank you for the stuff that I learned. And you go because your business, it takes 3 years to break even. So you have to start now because you don't know what these people could do. And you can't be walking out the door empty-handed. You have to be walking out the door knowing that, hey, I teach on the side, I do this on the side, I braid hair, I put on makeup. My friend, she's a trader, and she's washed the dishes and greases in the night. Just all because her mommy used to make her wash the dishes her whole life, and she used to hate it. And when she sat down and think about how I could make this money, I want to pay off my mortgage. Greases was hiring dishwashers, and she gone there. They didn't take her serious, but she done been there for 4 or 5 years now, washing the dishes and greases in the night. Her mortgage almost 80% paid. She don't thief. You do what you gotta do. Everybody have a talent. Steve Harvey says you could bake a pie and just try to sell it to 9 people. And that's your business right there. Okay? So don't worry about the devils. Don't mix up with them. Let them kill themselves.
It's a part of the journey of life.
Yeah, put them right, that's your job. That's your job.
It really isn't all the time targeted directly toward you, because in my office there's recently transferred due to the storm from Abago employee, and it's always things happening around there. People with attitudes and just extra.
Things you don't need.
And so it was a joke we shared. Somebody did something strange. And so she's like, that one funny. So I only smiled because, you know, it's for her to figure out. And it don't bother me. So she said, you don't have nothing to say. So I said after all this time, for what I said, honestly, it used to really upset me, and I'd take it home and
talk about them all night,
Stress
destroy
me
your
out.
home,
Right.
set your poor husband ready to leave you with
Right.
one more sad
I
story.
remember a particular instance where I requested leave and it was denied that I would get it paid. So I was like, okay, well, I'll take it unpaid. That was also an issue. I was telling her about the story. And so I wrote to have the unpaid leave. Came back to work. It was a couple weeks. Came back. And then HR came to me and she said, oh, you know you were paid? Here's the amount I need you to pay it back. So I only asked her what to sign because they had to do a deduction. So then she went to my supervisor and she said, do you know? She said, okay. You just cut a salary and she said, okay. So that was another reason she was upset. She said, oh, she must have all the money and now so.
No, but what you could do
prior to that, I know I would have really had a right because she said, she said, well, why didn't you make a call to us to say, hey, I'm still receiving the salary? I said, because I don't go to the bank. Well, that was the issue.
Why did they make a mistake?
They was too busy doing the other foolishness and upsetting other people. So
she wanted her reaction so you know.
Right. So I said, half of the time, it don't even be about you. So the way people handle you, it really don't always have nothing to do with you.
But they have issues.
Yeah, you raise above the personalities.
Right. So you
go to work every day. If you need
the
the rent, call a girlfriend on the phone on the radio. Please, don't tell your children, don't tell your husband. You destroy your marriages. Leave it at work. As women, we go home and we destroy our homes.
When you don't answer, then they get even more
Yeah,
upset.
yeah.
I guarantee you.
That was the issue. She's
you
like,
flee the very presence of evil.
I said, you want me to sign here?
Yeah, Jesus had
So she's
disciples,
not even gonna ask to,
and he been through some heated denying.
You just let it go. You show what
That's
you up to.
an example in the Bible of what you
Trust
do.
me.
Yeah, an example right in the Bible of what you do and how you handle these
It has
people.
nothing to do with
It ain't nothing to do with you're dealing with a higher power, like principalities and warlocks and demons.
Yeah.
You're no match for them.
And some people want you to respond so they
Yes.
can say you're insubordinate.
They wish you, they want
They want to
to
say
reaction.
they can say you're insubordinate and just
fall in the trap.
yeah.
When I started,
Leave
say
them
all
to
right.
Jesus. You want to pray? Go to church, you pay your tithes, you pray. And you leave them
Let
to
it go.
Jesus. And you create your own institution where
Let
it
it
has
go.
the right culture. And you hire people and you treat them right. And when you see the toxic attitudes and stuff, you let them people go.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Listen to me, I've learned to let things slide off like water.
You better.
That's why you gotta.
Because you will have a mental, why you think so many women
then
at
at this
35
point-
having a
Right.
life crisis and a breakdown and
People
they
already
feel so
decide that's how they
pressured?
can handle you. Ain't
Nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Nothing you can
You
do.
could do.
Just
So,
ignore them.
have your manners.
When you ignore them,
And
that
do your
really
work.
bothers
Yeah.
them. I know
Right.
that. It really bothers them.
Right. I know they think I'm crazy.
They try.
You let it go.
Remember, you don't work for yourself. When you work for yourself, you make the decisions. Then they say, swing from the chandelier and sign this. You either leave. How? Yeah. How to do it, or you leave. That's the decision you make. But getting involved and
You would stress yourself out.
yeah, and especially when you know this person just being intentional, like you want a reaction. No.
And you already don't like me so good. Great.
Yeah.
That don't do my work.
Fine.
Stop talking about them.
Keep walking.
Stop taking them home all night and trying to tell you fall asleep.
And
That's what happened today. And you wouldn't believe this woman doing. Your husband will
See, they have power over you.
Your husband will they can destroy
So
you at work and they will destroy you at home.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
misuse their power.
Yeah. Okay, good. So we have our homework. We can read. We coming in here. So if I give you all a pop quiz on W8, W9s and all of them and tax, you all know what I'm talking about. And we got a good discussion. Right? Okay, great. And your homework the week after. Okay, good. And then you all look at the calendar and set your date so you can get your 5%. And go as a group and so you wouldn't feel, uncomfortable.
I'm going back
I'd
to
go
Wine
back.
to see
Okay.
if they change.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, good.
I ain't changed good. Like, the gallery will always be there.
That break, that's just the Easter break in between us.
Oh yeah, let me see your book. Let me see what Miss Dean do, because we will not be here on April 10th. We will not.
I know.
She missed her? It ain't on this.
April 4th, the 18th.
Okay, yeah, so she knew what she was doing.
Okay.
But I'll confirm it.
So that's just
Yeah, that's just a break,
Yeah.
yeah. And we ain't having no homework and nothing to study for. We relaxing, we going to church and celebrating. And
we have our production.
we eating our fish, yeah, going to our production, unwinding and making ourselves feel good, then we'll pick it back up. Okay, good. So don't plan no weight.
Sounds
Just relaxation over there. So,
We have
just
to
a
do
little
that.
bit.
yeah. Study before and then study after.
Good stuff.
Yeah, and we relax. Because you have done, it's very comprehensive, yeah, be done.
Really?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
only do one chapter in this section.
Yeah, only one chapter and it's 10 weeks. But again, more thought.
How many
thought.
questions on the exam? Just 5?
That's why I say
One mandatory.
yeah, one mandatory
No
question.
Praise God.
No multiple choice?
Yeah, some multiple choice. Even some true and false. I think it's about 20.
True and false too?
Yeah, true and false and multiple choice.
Just guys.
But like I said, and this is why I want y'all to do the Egmont group cases up front, because more than likely this could be your question. Okay?
Okay.
Human trafficking, and if once y'all come back with your homework and we have the discussion whether or not these girls really missing and what's going on, more than likely that could be our topic.
We have your number.
I know, right?
So you say the final exam is
I know somebody came and said he was going to a field trip.
Yeah, that was Gio.
Sasha.
No, Sasha out sick. Yeah.
And then, thank you.
probably okay.
The heavy one.
So, thank you.
Oh yeah, we could go there.
She took the
Yeah.
exam.
I didn't see an exam either.
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. No, I think she taking a break. Yeah, because she took 4 other classes, so
Yeah,
she will
she
go
did,
back.
yeah.
And she said she
Yeah,
started
she did.
working.
She
like,
did start talking about it. And he's like, girl, you got like.
Floydia, it's her name, Floydia, yeah.
You said
yeah,
the final exam is
Oh,
4 essays, 1 month.
Yeah, 2 essays, 1 mandatory question, 20 multiple choice, yeah.
What school you was going to anyway?
I said it's not a school.
Let me give this to you.
Good. So, no, no, that.
Right.
Okay, I can see y'all next week.
See you.
Okay. On the way down to McDonald's, they made some money.
Yeah, what you probably need. That's fine.
So we keep in the group, right?
Yeah. I guess I just need to
MAG. Just for my
figure it out.
All that's still in the group? Or
Most of us, you always find
two new people.
Yeah, see too. I'm just saying you going to like yeah. It's like I want to go.